In today's episode, we talk about what happens when you choose love over fear. Hey, this is Steph, and welcome to the Together Moving Forward podcast. A podcast helping 2S LGBTQI plus people embrace self love and self respect so you can celebrate yourself with pride. Season 3. This is the first part of our two-part episodes featuring today's guest. By the end of this episode, you'll walk away with a renewed sense of hope for self love and self respect, a reminder that acceptance always begins with courage, and the inspiration to turn pain into purpose. You'll hear a mother's powerful journey from facing rejection and losing community to standing proudly for her trans son's right to exist and be loved. You'll discover what unconditional love truly looks like when it's tested and how this can help you find your own love and acceptance for yourself. Hello again, I'm Steph Vachon and I'm a human being. Welcome back to the Together Moving Forward podcast. Embrace your 2S LGBTQIA plus identity with pride through self-love. No matter where you stand in the 2S LGBTQIA plus spectrum, we are all connected. And if you ever struggle to fully love and respect yourself, you're not alone, and this podcast is here to help. As someone who has navigated my own journey of self acceptance as a queer, I know the power of hearing voices that reflect our own experiences. In this podcast, you'll hear real stories and conversations that leave you with practical tools, fresh perspectives, and the confidence to embrace who you are with pride. To start, I need to say that I'm not a psychologist, a specialist, or someone with a college degree. I'm just a regular guy here to share with all of you and support each other. I won't tell anyone how to do things. Instead, I'll share my journey and we will all share our journeys together. We'll learn from each other how to move forward. Today, I'm so grateful to welcome Kim, a mother fighting for her trans son's future. This is part one of a powerful conversation about what it means to go from rejection to pride. Before we go and meet Kim, I need to share with you how I got in touch with her. Last August, I woke up feeling overwhelmed and down about what's going on in the world right now. Yes, there's days like that. That particular day in mid-August, I got up and went to my computer, wondering why and if all the work I'm doing with this podcast is actually helping anybody. Then I opened my emails, and this is what I received that morning. I really need to read this to you, and you'll understand why this message made my day. And beyond that, how it helped me refocus and why I'm doing this podcast. Here it is. First, thank you for being a voice, sharing stories and strength. My son was 5 when he socially transitioned. He had told us he was a boy from the moment he could speak. The moment he had his first haircut, February 17th, 2023, and really saw himself, he said, "You can call me your son now." It made my heart explode with joy. What an amazing human for knowing who he was and for knowing he could tell us. We have lost friends, family, community. We have been accused of child abuse, forcing him upon him, and worse. We remain positive and shield the hate. The trash has taken itself out, we say. On May 29 of this year, a group in our region held an event that helped our trans community complete all the paperwork needed for a name change and gender correction on their birth certificates. They had a notary and even gave out checks to help people pay for it. We are waiting for his documents and name change info, praying they complete it without question. He was the youngest they had held. I pray more youth are able to find this service. I guess I saw your Instagram, listened to some of your podcast episode, and wanted you to know that your voice is guiding us. We have no idea what's coming, how we will help him through everything he's going to face. But right now, we can just love him and make sure he knows how magical he is. Keep doing what you're doing. Hearing people's stories give us hope that he will make it. Kim. Well, even reading it today, I get emotional again. Thank you, Kim, so much. You have no idea how much this email helps me every day. I read it again and again when I feel overwhelmed or down. For safety reasons, we'll keep Kim anonymous to protect her son's privacy. But she agreed that I can tell you that she's in Ontario in Canada. Now let's welcome Kim and listen to their heartfelt story she's so courageously sharing with us today. So, Kim, welcome to the Together Moving Forward podcast. I'm so glad that you accepted the invitation.
I definitely appreciate being here. Thank you for inviting me, Steph.
So, Kim, can you take us back to the moment your son first expressed that he was a boy?
Yeah, it would have been from pretty much the moment he could speak and understood that he didn't feel comfortable being called a girl. We have videos of him from when he was about 2 yelling at us saying, "I'm a boy." And he would change his name to whatever suited him that day, whether it be Michael, John, Jack. He would always change. And we would always just tell him, you can be whoever you want to be as long as you're you and you're kind. I think it really started progressing as he got older, like into junior kindergarten. He would kind of toggle between being called she and he from day to day. And we were blessed at that time. And I'm still so grateful for this woman. We had an amazing kindergarten teacher that would ask him every morning who he was that day so she could use the right pronouns. And I don't know, as his mom, I was so proud that he was using his voice and telling us what was going on inside his head. That was just a huge parenting win, I felt, for us, that he he was able to voice that at such a young age, that he felt safe enough to do that, and that he was never challenged on it. Well, by us anyway. He was never challenged by us on him identifying his gender.
When you first sent me your email back in August, I was extremely touched by it. I think you created this space for him to be able to tell you guys who he is. And we're just starting the interview, but already I just have to tell you how amazing parents you are already just by doing that. This is so wonderful. Thank you.
He he makes it easy.
Well, I think you make it easy too.
We'll see. There's lots of battles ahead, right? So,
Okay, so you mentioned his haircut on February 17, 2023 as a turning point. What was going through your mind and your heart that day?
oh, wow. That was one of the biggest days that we've had. There's that day and then May 30th of 2025 that are pinnacles in our adventure. But on that day, we finally heard him and agreed to go for a haircut. He had been using they, them, he, she, still kind of toggling between the two. We're now in senior kindergarten. He'd been asking for a haircut for months. As progressive as we have been with everything, I will say, and I'm sad about it now, but we weren't quite ready to see the golden ringlets get cut off. He was just the cutest, big blue eyes, blonde curly hair, but he really knew what he wanted. And so we decided to hear him. We went to a local barber in our village, very 1950s, but he was also an acquaintance of ours, and we knew that he would be a safe space. And he somewhat knew of our journey because his son is the same age as my son and had heard from his son about, you know, sometimes I call him this, sometimes I call her that, so kind of thing. So the barber listened to my son, did exactly what he asked him to do, and I'm gonna try not to cry, but at the end of the haircut, he looked in the mirror and he was grinning. I know they say ear to ear, but this was, like, legit. If the smile could have wrapped around his head, I think it would have. He bounced out of his seat, and once we got outside and started walking to the car, he said to his dad and I, so off the cuff, like, just no big deal, "I'm your son now, and Sissy's brother. You can call me that now." And that was the moment we realized that he saw himself and that it was a moment for him that even though he'd been saying for years that he knew who he was, it finally matched who he was, and we saw just how important that was. And for me, I guess I was starting a new chapter as a boy mom, bro. So
Wow, that is so powerful. So it's so nice to hear.
it's one of those moments where when you talk to the trans community and older people, especially in the trans community that, weren't comfortable transitioning at a young age or didn't know, didn't have the voice or the knowledge to know what was going on and why they felt these things. And even they say the moment that they got that haircut or got, were able to wear makeup or dress the way that they were comfortable or change their name. It's that moment when they see and feel like themselves that, and I'm gonna his teacher had actually sent us a letter home prior to the haircut that they were concerned about his speech and language that he wasn't developing in class, that he was very quiet and withdrawn. And that was such a shock to me because at home, he's so wild and feral, is really the only way to explain him. And so I was really surprised to hear that at school, he wasn't using his voice. He was standoffish and sheltered. And so they wanted to send him to a speech pathologist and the child and youth worker at his school to see if they could figure out what was wrong with him. And after that haircut, and he went to school the next day or two, whatever it was, the next day or after the weekend, she actually called me and said, wow,
Hmm.
he won't stop talking. He is putting his hand up. He's out there. So it was more than just him saying to us that he's our son now. He felt comfortable in that environment now. Um, yeah, I don't know. There's no words for it when we got that call to say that because that's just another thing too that just affirms that he knows exactly who he is and he wasn't himself yet, and now he is.
That warms my heart, and it makes me go back into when I was young, and the space you created for him at home to feel safe is huge. You don't even know. I can tell you, I never felt safe at home.
Mhm.
So at least your son could go back home and feel safe. And because you gave him that and you give him that still today, he's able to flourish and become who he is outside the home because he knows when he goes back home, he has a safe space. So I have to congratulate you again.
I
it's
don't
it's so wonderful.
It's weird to hear, and I appreciate it, and I do know that he's lucky to have been born in our home, just as we're lucky that he was gifted to us. But it's the strangest thing at the same time because to me, and I know people who are not supported and who have had to leave their home, and it just blows my mind. It's incomprehensible to not want him to be the best version of him, and I'm sorry to hear that you didn't have that, and I'm glad that you have a voice now, and that's I'm proud of you, and I think that's wonderful. And I just, yeah, it's hard for me to hear that we're doing such a great job, but it's because I would expect that from anyone, but I know that's not the case.
I think once time goes by, you should be a public speaker and go into schools and or parents and explain that, because what you just said is just so perfect. Just to be the best version of who your child is and just to be happy, you know?
Yeah.
And I I have no more words, but this again, it's so wonderful to hear. It's so wonderful to hear. Okay, we'll move on. I'm trying to not cry the whole time, so
Me too. We can cry together.
what has this journey taught you about parenthood and unconditional love?
He's still the same loving, silly, inquisitive soul that he had been since birth. Nothing changed about him, just his pronoun. Like our love didn't shift or sway at any point through the journey. To us, it was as simple as, oh, our child's left-handed. Oh, our child has a learning disability. It's just something that it just was. So it became. And as far as parenthood, I feel like that's part of the journey and that's part of the deal when you sign up. You don't know the person that you're creating in there, or the little human you're going to get, and that you're just supposed to get them to where they're going and make it hopefully as easy as possible for them to get there. Like we were just so proud that we'd raised a child who knew how to express his feelings and thoughts, and again, who felt safe enough to say things to us as a parent. Like parenthood, we'd have, and we still have, many conversations about gender, sexuality, different relationships. And I feel like that really helped him put all of those thoughts and feelings together to be able to vocalize who he was. He knew that what he was feeling was okay. He's never demonstrated any shame or doubts. Um, and as a parent who loves my children, I have a daughter as well. The thought of him internalizing that and carrying that, like so many in the trans community or the queer community have to for years sometimes, destroys me. Like it just, trans joy is real. And he is the epitome of it. And you'd asked about unconditional love. He he displays that. I'm just lucky to receive it. And yeah, I think that's it. I don't know. I could go on forever, stuff.
It's perfect. But I would love every parent to hear what you just said about when you expecting a child, it's not what you want it to be. The
Mhm.
child comes as who or she or he is, and that's your job. You don't know what you signed up for, like you just said. This is so true,
Yeah.
you know?
And I think what helped us too with him is his older sister. We are a very huggy, loving family. Like I love you, and we hug. My oldest, who's about to turn 13, is not, and has never said the words I love you since we could trick her into it when she was like 3, right? She does. She shows it, but she doesn't say it. So that, I think, really helped us grow to understand that we can't mold them. We can't create what we need from them. Because there is nothing I'd love more than just to hear her say, "I love you, mom." And I haven't in like 8 or 9 years since I could trick her into it, right? And that, to force her to say that would be, oh, amazing, but it can't happen. So when he started his journey, I think we were prepared and we knew that, we couldn't alter or change his path. Not that we would have, but I sometimes wonder if he was first, if we would have found it so easy. I know we would still support because we've always been allies, but I just wonder if it would have been more of a grieving process instead of just an instant accepting process. So she really prepared us for him, much to her dismay.
So when people accuse you of things like forcing this on your child, how do you respond internally and what keeps you grounded?
I wish that the only thing people accused us of when it came to him was forcing it on him. There have been some disgusting things said to us about what we must have done to our son to make him this way, even from friends and family when we told them about his pronoun. Well, what did you do? What did we do? Well, what did you do to make him that way? We had sex like 4 years ago. And then, I, it is such a tricky question about what keeps us grounded. It's really, especially in today's climate, let's be honest, which we won't get into because we could talk all day. Um, but I grew up in a household where my parents never had to worry about me. I was just there. I got good grades. I did all the things I was supposed to. They thought I was where I was supposed to be. Um, and and I never felt seen. I never felt that I was just they didn't have to worry about me. So they didn't ask me a lot of questions. They didn't really get involved in my life. And for us, what's keeping me grounded is being an active part of his life and asking him every day about his feelings or if he had any trouble that day, when he initially transitioned and it wasn't malicious or anything, but in the little boys' washroom, the little boys would always lock the stall. And to them, they just thought it was hilarious, right? It's just a funny thing. They had no idea that he would need to use the stall. So whenever he would go into the bathroom and the door was locked, he'd have to crawl underneath. He knows who he is. That keeps me grounded. Finding out things like that about the bathroom stall is because I asked. I didn't just assume that everything was going well every
Mm.
day. I didn't I didn't let the day go by without asking him some deeper questions to find out, did anyone make you feel bad today? Did you make anyone feel bad today? Like, do you have any regrets for the day? And sometimes he would say there was this one little boy in his class that always said, "You're not a boy, you're a girl." And in time now, we're in grade 3. That little boy is no longer saying that. Thankfully, I think children have very short memories when it comes to things like that. I really think that's what's keeping me grounded is trusting him and really feeling like I know him. I no longer need to, or I don't feel the need to explain to people that he chose his path. We just cleared the branches, right?
Mhm.
That's one of my favorite things to say as a parent and to remind myself to stay footed and solid is that he is choosing his path. We are just helping him clear the branches until he can hold that axe himself. And we have really great friends now that we've found on this journey that show us what it's like to just be. There's never questions, there's never misgendering. It's just accepted and it just is what it is. And that keeps me grounded because it's not a constant fear of, what are they saying when we're not in a room? It's
Mhm.
that comfort of knowing that I have voices in rooms that I'm not in. And it alleviates a lot of fear and just keeps me level.
Well, the first thing you were saying about people telling you, what did you do to make your son like that? There's so many movies that I've watched, even with, that are open to the LGBTQI plus community. And then you would hear the parents always say, "Oh my God, what did I do to God to deserve this?"
Yeah.
That makes me laugh. And how is it in school now? Like, because you said there was that little boy that kept, telling him he was a girl. And right now, how is it?
Socially transitioned in senior kindergarten. So he would have been 5, I believe. That first year, the teacher said that everyone was just like, "Oh, okay, he's a boy now." And and there wasn't really a lot of question about it. It was just accepted. I think it's such an age where I'm happy to say the majority of the kids were just like, "Oh, okay, this is just what is."
Hmm.
And when we got to grade 1, because he had had the same teacher through senior kindergarten and junior kindergarten, the same one that was so incredibly supportive. So we were so happy and comfortable sending him to school every day, knowing that it was a safe space. And if someone made it unsafe, she was very active to speak about, gender equality and all of these things to 4 and 5-year-olds, which meant the world to us. And then he entered grade 1, and we thought, well, it's probably for the best if we let the teacher know, because there could still be kids that don't accept it. And we thought, well, the teacher, we've had such a great experience with this other teacher, that this teacher needs to know so that she can protect him as well. And it was the opposite. Um, Constant misgendering, and then correcting in front of the class, like calling him she and being like, oh, I meant he, but not doing it to any other children. So making it very evident. And when I had mentioned that the bathroom stall was always locked. So in the little boys' room, there's just one stall and then a bunch of urinals. And he would go to use it. In SK and JK, they had their own bathroom in the classroom. So it was never a problem for which bathroom he had to go to when he socially transitioned, because there's one bathroom in their classroom and he just used that. But in grade 1, they separate them and you have to use the girls' room or the boys' room. And so we had the conversation because we thought we had to make it safer. And so he would start to use the boys' room and the stall would be locked. So at first he wouldn't crawl under, so he'd have an accident. And he was coming home day after day with soiled clothes in his backpack and wouldn't tell us really why. When he did, I called the principal and it wasn't pretty. But his teacher's solution, instead of someone constantly checking that stall to make sure it was unlocked, was to send him back to the kindy classroom, where he would have to go through the kindergarten classroom to use just the neutral bathroom, which again singles him out from all the other students. Or they would send him down to the accessible washroom by the office, whose door was so heavy he couldn't open it. So, and then the one time a teacher yelled at him for using that bathroom and he was so confused. So that's when I called the principal and I said, something needs to happen. This bathroom needs to be checked more often. You need to have discussions with these classes about how locking a stall is dangerous and people can get really sick if they can't use the bathroom. It has gotten better. He has no more bathroom problems. Apparently, it's just always unlocked now. And but it's just those things, that I'm envious other parents don't have to think about.
Hmm.
Like some of the friends I've lost, the one used to tell me it's no big deal. Like it's just, so he's a boy now. And I'm like, well, that's so nice of you to say as you send your 3 blonde, white, cis children to school. And I'll send my trans son to a village school where it is not progressive but yeah, completely agree. It's just, he's just a boy now. There's nothing to worry about. Yeah.
And his with his teacher, it's better.
We stopped sharing the information after our experience with grade 1. With the school itself, when he did socially transition, we were able to change his gender on the school paperwork without issue. At least when each teacher gets him in the class, it shows male. And then just last year, we were able to remove his middle name. We didn't realize it was on the paperwork. He saw it and he got upset because he's like, that's not my name. Why is that there? Because he had selected his middle names way before we did the name change. And so we had that removed as well. So that part of the schooling was fine. And as far as we know, the teachers may be aware Um, he's expressed no concerns. He has amazing friends now. His one little bestie knows his story fully because his mom was actually his babysitter when we first moved to this village before he transitioned. So they know our whole journey. They're not an active part of it. Like, we're not friends or anything, but they know and are a safe space. And it just so happened that her son and my son just became best friends this year.
Mm.
So you know, he was able to have his first sleepover. He he was able to, he has play dates. These are things that he's never had before. And I always said it was because they were COVID babies and maybe they just weren't as close. But in the back of my mind, it was, well, parents know about him and they don't want their kids because they know they knew him in JK. They saw him in SK and then grade one. And, it, so in SK, they came to a little girl's birthday party. And in grade one, it was a little boy's birthday party. So I always thought parents just didn't want anything to do with us. And yeah, these little friends have made my heart a lot warmer. Um, and I think his journey a lot smoother.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You shared that you lost friends, family, even community because of supporting your son. How did you find the strength to keep moving forward despite that loss?
That has honestly been the hardest part of this journey so far. Um, I just, I have grown to say the trash took itself out. And, at the very beginning, when he initially transitioned, um, I had talked to my friends for months about, I think this is what's coming. This is what's coming. And just kind of mentally preparing myself for it. And I had this one best friend, like, so much so that I was there the day she was born. So we had been together at this 42 years. Her mom and my mom were best friends. Her dad and my dad were best friends. They introduced each other, got married, had kids. Like, it goes back that long. And when I told her that, his story about the haircut and what he said to me, her response was, well, I guess you finally got what you wanted. And I kind of brushed it off like, oh, she must not have meant it that way. And it was a few weeks later. Oh no, it was in May that she stopped by. And again, we never fought. We never raised voices to each other. It was just an easy relationship and it always has been. And I could really tell something was off. And she was agitated and uncomfortable. And without a lot of details, she said a lot of very derogatory, racist things that I've never heard her say in all the years that I've known her. And after she said, well, I will say, so she was talking about at that point is when The Little Mermaid was coming out. And she was upset that The Little Mermaid was going to be black. And right? You remember that whole thing. And I was really thrown back by that because again, her daughter's standing there, my children are there.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't see what the difference is. It's a fictional character that they can create to be anybody. And she made a comment about how black people don't have red hair like that. And I was like, well, no one has red hair like that. It's not a real color of hair. She scoffed and said something else about how Tinkerbell was also going to be black. In my heart, I'm hearing her say, I'm not accepting of anything different.
Hmm.
I will only accept what I know, and I'm not open to anything. So I after a few comments, my son walked through between us and I said, "Well, let me just move my trans son out of the way." And she became volatile, like physically, verbally. She pushed me, she threw open the door, she left my house screaming profanities and yelling, and I I was completely in shock. First of all, we're not a yelling house. I know some people communicate that way. It just doesn't work for me. But the fact that she spoke this way and yelled this way in front of my kids, where they felt unsafe, and her daughter was still in my home. So I had to look at her and say, okay, well, I don't know if I'm comfortable with you driving with mommy when she's like this. And she came back screaming and demanding that she go. And so I just asked her daughter to call me when she got home. So I knew they were home safe. And that was really the last time that was the last time I've seen her face. Um, and I tried to talk and figure out like, well, what's going on? Are you okay? Wh- So I'm still struggling with coming to terms with I could never have her in my life again because of her beliefs, but I
Mhm.
miss her every day. Even if there was a moment where, you know, she apologized, I still couldn't have her in my life, and that's still heartbreaking. Um, and the kids still talk about that day, and, they called her aunt. She was a huge part of our life, and I miss her kids, I miss her, I worry about her kids. Yeah, so that I still you know, the trash did really take itself out there as much as the bag was really heavy and it hurt, it's gone. And then um, family took a bit longer for me. Um, I held my tongue for a moment. Our parents knew, and I'm mostly gonna talk about my side of the family. My husband's side of the family seemed to instantaneously be like, "Okay, that's great." And I thought it would be my side that did that, and it wasn't. So it really surprised me, and there's still a lot of grief with that. Most of them now are, yeah, absolutely. They're on board. It's fine, but social media is an ugly thing. And there were people in my family that were married to people that are married to people that aren't very nice. And my one family member was married to someone who was posting a lot of trans hate, mostly trans children hate, and how parents are indoctrinating and forcing this
Mm.
on them. The first time I saw it, I commented and I said, I am happy to educate you whenever you want to talk, like more than happy. I let it go because I was like, I said something. And we're still very new to this journey. I was still, you know, it's very raw in the moment. You don't want to go and destroy the planet, but you want to destroy the planet, like you want to fight everybody, but you don't know how to do it yet.
Mhm.
Um, so then he posted something else, and no one in my family said anything. Everyone could see it. Everyone is, a social media friend, but not one person said, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't say this."
Mm.
So we were due to host a family event a few weeks from that day, and I canceled for everybody and said, if you can't be voices for rooms or voices in rooms for us when we're not there, I don't want you in my rooms. And that was um, 2023. So I'm pretty sure that I'm still blamed for ruining this family, but I don't think I did. If anything, I just made it safer for mine. And
Exactly. I was gonna say exactly.
yeah, the people that are accepting, we still see. We are open to having anyone and everyone over that is safe. And we've made that clear that, you know, but they've all made choices. And we made choices. So I will say this: we are not the quiet generation. We are not the generation to just accept family trauma and brush it under the rug and just accept it because they're our elder and have to respect them, or
Mm.
oh, family blood is thicker than water. You have to, family is family.
Mm.
Um, oh, I know.
I'm biting
So,
my tongue.
oh, I know I bit mine off, but I am really proud to say that that is not us. And I continuously tell family members that life is too short to have people in your life that don't make you feel good. or that purposely put hate out in the world, whether they are your brother, your cousin, your aunt, a friend. There is no reason that you need to have them in your life if they at all upset you. There's no time for fake. There is so many other things going on that I need to worry about than sitting in a room with someone that I'm just trying to make conversation. And yeah. So,
And there's no point trying to
oh,
argue.
yeah.
And I'm just going to say this to you. Yes, it is. It's hard. I totally understand. But you will heal from it and you will be free from it. I can tell you. And it's congratulations on exactly taking care of your family first and yourself. I think that's the whole point. And you will be more than okay. Trust me.
Thanks, Steph.
Thank you so much, Cam, for sharing this part of your journey with your son and inspiring all of us. All I can say is this: this is really what real love looks like. And this is just the beginning. Part two and the conclusion of this powerful conversation will be out next week, so don't miss it. Just like Kim, the world needs your story. It has the power to change lives, and your voice matters. I'm always looking for inspiring guests for the podcast, and I'd love to have you or someone you know share your journey with pride. Please reach out and send me an email today. It is already time to say au revoir just for now, so please join me next Wednesday for part two and conclusion of this amazing story with our guest Kim. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode on how to love and respect yourself. And if you found this episode useful, share it with a friend or someone you know in our 2S LGBTQIA+ community so you can help them embrace self-love. It might seem like a small gesture, but it truly makes a huge difference. Wherever you are from in the world, we are all connected. Remember, solidarity beats hate. The more we unite, the stronger we become. Because at the end of the day, we are all equally human and we all deserve the same rights. One last thing before I go. Put your hand on your heart and repeat after me. Yes, you and me together. I can and will overcome any obstacles in my path. Yes, I can and will overcome any obstacles in my path. From shame, guilt, silence, and rejection to pride, freedom, healing, and love. Together moving forward. Thank you so much for joining me today. It really means a lot to me to have you here. See you next week. Ciao. Subscribe now and share to uplift, empower, and make a real difference in our community.